Inhumans, debuting on IMAX screens September 1st. Get tickets now. Premiering on ABC September 29th.
I am the Queen of Adelaide. No one tells me what to do.
The King and Queen, ladies and gentlemen, one more time. Make some noise. Come on. Welcome.
This is a real production.
Well,
Yeah.
Of course. Nothing less for you guys, right?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here and taking time to hang out with us. I know you're super busy. Congratulations on this show. We're all very excited to check it out. Before we get into this, because we got so much to talk about, just how are you guys doing? How you feeling? How you holding up? How's it going? I know it's a long press run on this, on these kinds of things, these big productions. Hanging in there?
Nothing to complain about.
Nuts. Yeah.
Beats sticking dishes, doesn't it?
For sure. I usually say, how's the city treating you? But I heard you guys got in like really late just last night. You like just got
You've been here since Tuesday.
I live here.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
got in
You got it.
super late last night, and I'm on West Coast time, so it is real early for me right now. I woke up at 3 o'clock my time and was like, oh, okay, here we go. Let's
Doing
hope I
this.
say things that are intelligent and well-formed sentences. So
Doing
we'll
a great
see.
job so far.
Thank you.
Crushing it, if I can say so myself.
It's early. It's early. Give me time.
But you guys, you just had your premiere recently, right?
Yes.
That looked like, I saw a lot of stuff on Instagram, a lot of group shots, a lot of fun stuff going on. There was a giant lockjaw, is my
There
understanding.
was.
Yeah, we're going to get into lockjaw.
He's our favorite.
Yeah. Well, arguably the most important question that I have to ask is how do I get myself one of those little lockjaws that I see floating around on social media?
Oh, the stuffy
The
or the
stuffy.
bobblehead?
Oh my God, I'll take either.
Yeah, there's
honestly.
two.
I'll tell you right now.
You got to be specific.
Okay, well then I'm going to commit. I want the stuffy. If I-
Okay, we can figure that
Do you
out.
know a guy? Or a girl?
I think we know some people.
We might
know some people.
know some
Yeah.
people, yeah.
This is the entire purpose, by the way, of the 15-minute interview.
Free stuff.
Is me getting the free stuff that I've been trying to get. But what was that experience like? The premiere, was that your first time seeing it, especially in the IMAX format and all that? Was that?
We've seen it once before.
Seen it once before,
We got
okay.
a little teaser of it at the IMAX headquarters, so we knew what we were in for. I know, that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we knew what we were in for, but it wasn't finished when we had seen it. So that was the first night that anybody actually had seen the finished product. So that's when we were like, okay, once people see this is what they can form their opinion off of, because everything was done finally with all the CGI and lockjaw and the hair and all of that. So we hadn't even seen that finished product, but we had seen probably like 80% of what it was going to be.
This is a pretty like historical moment too, in that, you know, ABC IMAX teaming up, a television show premiering, showing its pilot and premiering in an IMAX format. When you're working on the show, was there a different sense of scale? Could you feel that this was a bigger thing?
Yeah. I've never worked around such a big machine in my life. Just the set pieces were so big. We weren't in a normal studio. We were in we reclaimed an old Navy hangar because we needed space.
Three of them, you guys.
Yeah, that's
it was huge and tiring. You see, I know it's 3 because I had heels. So guys with flats are like, yeah, it was like 1 large one. I'm like, no, it was 3. I'd have to walk them every day, and they were massive. So it's different for girls. Like, we know how, like when a guy's like, it's a couple blocks away to dinner, you're like, be more specific. How many blocks is dinner? Because to you, 1 is fine. For me, depends on what shoes I'm wearing. So yeah, it was 3 very large hangers.
And we'll get into this too, but you also, in addition to those heels, had a pretty heavy wig on as well, right? For some of the scenes?
Yes, the wig was.
What was the number? How many pounds?
You know what? It's terrible because I was like, it's 4 pounds.
Yeah,
Poor Victoria Woods out there who made this gorgeous wig is like, pretty sure it's not 4 pounds, liar. It's 4 feet, so it's just.
Pound per foot, that checks out.
Yeah,
but
that's what I thought. I was like, okay, and it's
basic hair math.
It's
That's
hair
just-
math.
yeah.
Half.
Okay, you didn't have to wear black leather in Hawaii, though.
Yeah.
That's true. Well,
That's the
you should have spoken up about it.
That's the only way to put a damper on time in Hawaii,
Like
right?
that,
Just
like that.
head to toe clad in black leather. But you
Yeah.
were saying the machines are huge, the set pieces are huge, so there's definitely a sense that this is a huge production. There's a lot going on,
Yeah.
aside from the fact that it's a Marvel production.
And IMAX.
Yeah,
The IMAX of it all, yeah.
Just all those things put together. I mean, how much fun was that? Is that sort of where your expectation? That's where the bar is kind of set in your head, right? When you find out you're joining the Marvel family. I mean, talk about a royal family, right? Like being a part of a Marvel production. Are you walking in with expectations, like these grandiose sort of things, or were you still blown away? Were you like, oh man, this is bigger than I even thought?
Oh yeah, definitely that last part. I mean, I knew it was going to be cool. I knew it was going to be big. I knew that they were investing in it. But just being there in the middle of that machine and it was sort of like seeing the cogs and gears turn for the first time, and it was really exciting.
Very cool. I saw somewhere you had a great moment, Serinda, when you got your call. The way they told you that you'd join. Do you want to share just that story, a little bit of that story for us here, for those that haven't heard it?
Yeah, it was I love Anson's like, am I down now? It's quite the story. He knows, he's got the cues. It was incredible. It was a week that was very high intensity. Like when you audition for roles, usually you find out within a couple of weeks whether or not you got it. And I had auditioned, and it was a month later, and we got a call coming in saying, we think the offer's coming in. And from the time that I think I had auditioned until then, I had booked another show. And so basically we had to negotiate between Ballers and Inhumans to make sure that I could do both at the same time. Right. Which is unheard of. You don't get to do 2 shows. And you don't get to do an HBO show and a Marvel show. That's just like, doesn't happen. Not doing it. Cool. So when I heard there was gonna be like a little conflict, I was like, well, in the industry, it's usually, there's 4 of you behind, right behind you, so next. So there's usually, it just moves. And nobody ever fights for you. You're the only one fighting for yourself. And Monday, I was like, okay, we're going for a fight. By Tuesday, it'll be somebody else's. Tuesday, it was still mine, still fighting. Wednesday, it was still mine, we're still fighting. Thursday, still mine. And Friday at 6 p.m. is the deadline because I have to be in Hawaii on Sunday. And I was like, oh gosh, like, you're really keeping your fingers crossed, but very prepared for them to have a no. And so 5:55 on Friday, my phone rings, and I'm getting my nails done, so I'm literally doing this, trying to like, be like, sorry, hold on, really important people, I'm just trying to do this. And it's Jeff Loeb on the phone, and Jeff says to me, Serinda, I have 3 words for you. And I kept, as I was telling you earlier, I was like, you're not it. You didn't get it. Try next time. Nope.
4-pound wig.
Yeah, exactly. 4-pound wig. Shave your head. And there was this long pause, and he just said, "Welcome to Marvel." So cool. And from a week of just, having this dream role put in front of you as, a lead female and such an iconic role as Medusa, and to hold the energy of like, I'll be fine if I don't get it. No, cool, I'll totally be fine. Promise, I'll be fine. And to hear that I got it, like I got my dream role, and I got the opportunity to play this character. I just was like, I hung up the phone and was like,
It's immediate emotion.
Yeah, it was because I've never had the industry fight for me as hard as I fought for it, and that's a really incredible feeling. So I was, I had a little cry. Awesome. Yeah, it was lovely.
Thank you for sharing that, Anson. I heard you just got like a text.
He didn't have to audition. So he was like, "Oh, you want to give me the role? Cool, yeah." Yeah, it was much different.
I want to talk to you. It's impossible to talk about your character, Anson, talk about your process without talking about how you can't talk. Surely you've been asked a million questions about that. But one of the things I was really fascinated by was your commitment to the idea of no voiceover and sort of developing a language, a sign language, and working. I read somewhere that you studied like orchestral conductors and all sorts of different things to come up with this. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that process and how you developed the language that we'll get to see in the show, and where that came from.
Yeah, I think if we'd gone the route of voiceovers, I wouldn't have been interested. It's just, why cheat like that? Yeah, and it has to be real. We're engaged in so much CG these days. We have to fight for something that's stabilized, and so I took it very seriously. Jeff Loeb and I agreed it needed to be a real language. I needed to know what I was saying, when I was saying it, how I was saying it, and that just required developing a sign system of my own. I borrowed some of the underlying rules of ASL that make it more efficient, but the signs were all mine. And that was funny enough, that was not the hardest part. They were very intuitive because they were coming from me. The hardest part was just getting it into the muscle memory of my body, so that I could actually focus on Serinda while we're doing a scene and not be thinking about what was that sign.
You have to get to a point where you're kind of running on autopilot, so it becomes a part of your character.
It has to be like a dance.
Exactly.
Right. So, and there are similarities to learning how to ride a horse on set. It's just a skill that you got to get, so that there's a part of your brain taking care of that while the rest of you is free. And Serinda helped me be prepared a lot because she demanded that I send her videos of my homework.
Every wife does. Demanding.
So she would
demanding
know
woman.
that what I was saying when I was saying it, we'd be on the same page. Because a lot of scenes she's translating for me, and it was so easy to get out of sync.
But you had done so much work. That was the thing, is he had done so much work to actually create this language down to each word that I wanted to make sure what I was saying was perfectly in sync with what he was signing, so that you can start to recognize different character names or different words or what's happening, like Triton. Little Triton guy? Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Yes, I still remember. So things like that where, yes, it was really sweet. It was Medusa. What is it? The long hair heart. Yeah, there was
That's
like,
really sweet, yeah.
so there was like a lot of thought that went into it. So I wanted to make sure that it was something that I honored and that I wasn't just speaking and not going through the motions of what he was doing. And that's something that Medusa and Black Bolt created together.
Yeah.
In their world, it was, she came in and she developed this language with him, and that's part of what bonded them. And that was like something lovely for him and I to be able to do, because then we had our own little secret language.
That's just it, right? Like there's such a complicated interwoven relationship beyond just husband and wife between Black Bolt and Medusa. And so this is obvious a bonding experience. Were there any other fun bonding things that you guys did incidentally or intentionally, like set out, hey, we're going to do this, we have to tighten up, we've got to have this chemistry, we got to do these things? Because I was really excited that you guys were coming together, because it is really fun to have you together. There is a natural chemistry and you're very fun to talk to. Did that just click, or did you work on that?
Well, M.A. Ikuokor, who plays Gorgon, tried so hard to get us all to go to Lanai, and it just didn't happen.
He was great. He would always try to like get the crew together, but we were working so hard. And
it was, we were for various reasons. Our schedules were really opposite from each other, and it was hard to get together sometimes.
But it was natural. Like I think our whole cast just clicked together really well, and it was really fun. And you can't really complain when you're in Hawaii. You're like, ugh, another palm tree.
Yeah.
The worst. Coconuts everywhere. Like no.
It's so funny. About a year ago, I went there, my honeymoon, and my wife and I. The first night we were there was the most ridiculously gorgeous sunset, like reds, purples, hues, whatever. And the waitress
Every night.
she comes out, and we're like taking a photo, and we're like, "This is amazing." And I hand it out. She goes, "Yeah, it does that," and then walks away.
Literally,
It's just like
it does
totally
that. Yeah.
unimpressed, just like it happens every night.
Yeah,
And sure
it
enough, at the end of
does.
the week, we were like, "Oh, it's doing that gorgeous, amazing thing again. Look at that." And what I wanted to ask you, you touched on like it's a skill of developing this language and figuring all these things out. What is something, maybe, because it's a very specific one, it's a language unique to this world, to this character, to these relationships, but is there something within there that you've sort of picked up or you guys learned as actors that you think you'll bring with you to your next project from that process? Like, have you ever had to invent a language before? And now, having done it, is it something that like sticks with you?
It's definitely not something that you eventually, or at least I have eventually picked up yet. I couldn't immediately start talking in my own sign system. I'd have to actually go home, translate it, rehearse it, get it in my, I think just with every job, and this is going to sound so stupid, but with every job, particularly in theater, I learn a new level of respect for knowing your material. And you can't go too deep with that. And the more you get it into your system, the more you own it. And this just challenged me to have to do that in a different way with a different part of my body. So yeah, I think so.
Serinda, I know there were a lot of there's physical challenges. You're working with this animated hair set piece and all these different things. One, I'm curious about how that worked. Did you have to partner closely with the VFX team to know where the hair was going to go?
No.
Or did they just kind of
They
work
were
with
incredible.
you? Yeah.
They just worked with me, basically. I had to spend many awkward hours staring in the mirror doing like angry hair, sad hair. Yeah, like there's no classes. There's no class you're signing up for being like, there's imaginary hair class. Like, no, there's none of that. And there's...
I thought the way that you rehearsed the fight stuff with your arms, so that you knew what it would do to your
As if to my body.
frame. And
yeah, I would kind of practice the fight physically first with my arms. So if there was like a punch or a jab or a twist or whatever it was, I would feel how my body would support my arms to do it, and then mimic that, but with my arms down so that my hair would do it. Yeah, so if it was like when I grabbed the guy and I would twist, my arm and my head naturally does it. So when my hair grabs the guy, there is this kind of moment where you grab him and it's a tightening of your body. It's my body became my spine. All of my body became my spine to support my hair. So there's not as much movement with her body when her hair is active, partially because, I mean, that was in the little clip you guys saw. That's like the Royal Guard. They're not that tough. She wasn't that worried, except for that weird zappy guy that creeped up behind her. Didn't see that one coming, unfortunately.
Gotta watch out for those weird zappy guys.
Yeah, that was a little oversight on my part. But that was it. I would just practice, and I would practice kind of the different emotions of how you feel when you're being attacked or how your body moves. And the CGI guys were incredible. They just gave it its own life and its own little like flip and movement. It's got a little sassy hair.
It just sounds like so much fun. Is that either the scariest or most exciting, or maybe kind of both, that you have to invent these new things when you come into a world like this, when you come into a universe that's so fantastical? Is that something that draws you into it? It's like, I get to sort of develop how this would work. I get to figure out how this language would work. Is that something that you sink your teeth into, you get really excited about?
Yeah, it's super exciting, but it's also terrifying because you have millions of people that are like, I didn't see it like that.
Yeah.
You're
And
like, oh, okay. Sure.
And potentially years ahead of you. So, you know, sometimes you want to be careful of the kind of footprint you're putting down, because you got to fill that footprint for years to come.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to turn it over to audience Q&A in just a second, because I see I've run out of my time, unfortunately. But one, I do want to remind you, I'm going to ask you about that lockjaw thing. And two, I told you it was the whole point of the interview. And two, Serinda, I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk to something that you've been working really hard on for 6 years. Like I said, I was working on social media, and you've worked tireless efforts to raise awareness and help stop, sex trafficking and human trafficking. I want you just to speak a little bit about that. Tell us about that cause, and also
thank you.
where we can go for more information and help.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. 6 years ago, I watched a documentary by mistake on anti-sex trafficking. I was coming back from set and was like, I want to watch garbage. I just want to like zone out, and turned the TV on and walked out and came back in, and they said human trafficking is the second largest criminal enterprise in the world. Yeah. And I kind of just stopped and went, I'm sorry, what? How is that possible? And 1.2 million women and children are sold every year. And I realized that it has to do with the fact that I won a geographic lottery at birth, basically being born in Canada. My rights, I was right to my body, I was right to be educated, I was right to have a voice, a choice. And that these girls that I was seeing were born in Cambodia or Nepal, and they didn't have the same opportunities that I had. They hadn't made a different choice, they hadn't done anything differently than I had other than where they were born. And so I picked up my bags and I went to Cambodia, Malaysia, and Thailand, and I tried to learn a little bit more. So I started which makes total sense. I started a charity skydive once a year that a group of us throw ourselves out of a plane to represent these women and children in a sense of just each day choose one day or each year choose one day to face your fears, to represent these women and children and to raise funds and awareness. And I think we've reached about 99 million people with our message, and we've raised about $700,000.
Amazing.
It's pretty insane by people just jumping out of planes. Like it's kind of ridiculous, but it stops people. They're like scrolling through social media, and you see a celebrity that you like or a friend that you like, and their face is flapping in the wind.
That's just it, right? Like on the surface of it, it's like, what a weird thing. There's no connection, but there's actually kind of a brilliance to it. Like one, thematically facing your fears. Two, you're right. On social media, you need to do crazy things to get people to stop and pay attention for 2 seconds.
Yeah, so. And our original thing was I needed to raise $18,000 for one of the organizations because they needed a way to rescue the girls. These girls were needing out of the brothels, and they could go on a tuk-tuk or on a motorcycle, and it was just really dangerous for them, so they needed a mode of transportation. And so we were like, I was like, cool, I will get you that $18,000. I have no idea how. And then North America's highest skydive is 18,000 feet. It's oxygenated. So we get up there. We did it 3 weeks ago. And so, yes, we're still fundraising. If you guys want to donate, you're more than welcome on my both on my Twitter and on my Instagram. There's links there. And I always say a donation isn't just monetary. It's a tweet, it's a retweet, it's the start of a conversation. It's just getting the voice out there of what's happening to these women and children. And yeah, so thank you for giving me the platform to talk about that.
Of course.
Can I plug mine real quick?
Yeah,
I was going to, please do.
I'm in the middle of an effort to support Team Rubicon, which is a nonprofit of former military personnel who use their experience in deployment to go to areas hit by natural disaster. And right now they're all in Texas, in total and doing as much as they can. So if you text the word Texas to 87872, you'll get a link where you can go to donate and help their efforts in coastal Texas right now.
Pretty awesome. And yeah, I was going to ask Anson, of course. Guys, thank you for all the hard work you're doing, not just, of course, entertaining us, but helping us out there as well. So, guys, you already know this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. IMAX tomorrow. Get your tickets if you haven't already. And then I believe the 29th, I wrote it down, September 29th on ABC, yeah. And I was reading about it. There's some stuff on the 29th that will be exclusive to that premiere that I don't believe is in the IMAX one.
No.
So even if you go see it tomorrow, definitely tune in to catch the premiere proper on the 29th on ABC. We're going to turn it over to the audience. We've got some microphones out there. Looks like we're starting right here in the front.
Hi.
Guys, can't wait to see Inhumans with my friends in IMAX.
Thanks.
So I was wondering, how much research did you guys do for your characters? And also, I want to ask you, what was it like working with Rayon?
With who?
Rayon?
Oh, with Awan.
Yeah.
He's amazing, first and foremost. Incredible guy, so much fun. And yeah, I was just beyond excited to
He
work with
bummed
him.
rides off of me to get to
He
work.
can't drive. He can't drive.
Only one of us who couldn't drive.
Yeah.
And we're in, I don't know if you know Hawaii, but it is not a
not
public
close.
transportation.
We would like rock, paper, scissors on who had to take him. It was amazing. It was amazing. But yeah, it was. We did as much research as we could. Obviously, I think having these characters first appear in 1965, there's a lot to do, and it's also not trying to bring all of that into one season and into one moment. They're very multifaceted characters, and I think you figure out at which point in their life your characters are and move them from there. Like at the beginning of the show for Medusa, she's very held. She's the queen. She's upholding this, this system, and then you start to see her world fall apart, and you start to see sort of her old, the old Medusa come in, which is a little more conniving and a little more fun. So it's that sort of, you do your research to give you that backbone, and then you decide how you're going to play from there.
Yeah, I went back and read everything that I could get my hands on.
As he does.
And get a sense for, and it helped a lot, because what you're looking for a lot of times for long-running TV shows, you're looking for the character's journey that can parallel, hopefully, the journey of the show. Yeah. And I feel like I found, Black Bolt's flaw of being emotionally removed to be really helpful. And obviously working on the language was a tremendous amount of fun. And that was about it.
When you're going back and you're reading through everything like that, do you ever stumble upon something that's like you file away? Like, that's too soon in the story for me to use that, but that's really good. I'm going to use that
invariably later. All of the Inhuman storylines pretty much follow an immigration integration storyline, and I find that really exciting. Yeah. And I hope that we can get to that.
Very cool. Our next question, we have time for two more. This next one's right here.
Hi.
Hi. I was at San Diego, and the footage that was shown was amazing. I just can't wait to see this. And what I was just wondering was, what's your favorite character trait or attribute of your character?
You go first?
You
Thinking. I think it would be that her superpower comes from her femininity. I think a lot of the time their superpowers are not gender specific. And so it can be, it can cross over. And I think one of the beautiful things about Medusa is that she keeps her femininity, and what is considered beautiful or sexy or whatever it is with her long hair is actually her power and where her power comes from. She's the voice for not only the queen, but also the king. And I love that she has this strength about her. I just think it's such a neat thing to be able to explore.
I think for Black Bolt, what I admire most about him is his sense of responsibility to his people, to the extent that he can speak, he just chooses not to because it'll hurt people, and and he even he meditates an hour every night before he goes to bed so he doesn't talk in his sleep and kill her. So I think his sense of responsibility is very admirable, although at times it weighs him down way too much.
I think I already know the answer because this is kind of a dumb question, but was there ever a moment where you slipped up and spoke by accident and you're like, damn it, go back, let's do it again?
No.
Or no, you once you were in the zone, you were in the zone.
Not with me.
Yeah.
I would catch myself vocalizing like,
Oh.
I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No, dead.
Sneezing, I've sneezed a couple of
Dead.
times.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Murder.
Very, very interesting.
Ah, the jokes that ensue from a sneeze. Oh, you just blew us all away.
Yeah. Oh, we had such bad jokes on the thing. I was known for walking up and asking like the word. Like I'd be like, "Hey, Anson, what's?"
Yeah, what's the one
can
that
already
cracked you
see-
up the most that nobody was amused by?
Oh, I just had the worst.
Let's do a dramatic interpretation.
Hanson,
Reenactment.
who is your favorite athlete? Usain Bolt. Who's your favorite musician? Michael Bolton.
No.
Black Sabbath. This went on for 4.5 months, you guys. I would walk up and I'd be like, "Hey," and they'd be like, "No." Like Triton would be
Not
crying.
a lot happening on the west side of Oahu.
No, there's
man.
nothing. Triton would be like sweaty, and I'd be like, "Do you need a fish to dab it off?" Like I am the worst, you guys. I am the worst. They would see me coming from so far away. They're like, "Sir, I can't." Crystal, I'd be like, "What's the weather like tomorrow? Can't you see it in your crystal ball?" Yeah, I could go on forever. I won't.
Fish you.
Fish
really
you.
got me.
Fish
That
you was
one's
great.
That's pretty brilliant. Regrettably, we have time for one more question.
Sorry,
Our
guys.
last question is right here in the front.
Hi.
Hi guys, thanks for being here. So I was just wondering what your overall experience has been like just working for Marvel. They obviously have this amazing like universe going on with all these different shows and movies. Is there something that's been like particularly unique or just very like surprising and entertaining just about working for such a great
I
company?
mean, this is pretty surprising. The difference between that and this. Yeah, I think that would be the loss of hair. Definitely would be quite the surprising.
Because we only, as like fans, found out, I think, in a trailer within the past couple
Yesterday.
of days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how much I could ask about that.
I didn't know what was coming up either. I was watching the trailer. I was like, cool. Oh, we're showing that now. Cool, because I've been wearing a wig for the past 6 months.
Oh my God.
My Instagram is a lie, you guys. Literally. Her name's Wendy. She's my wig. She goes snorkeling with me. She goes hiking. It's pretty phenomenal.
When you saw the trailer and it was out, did you like throw the wig off?
Oh,
Like, I'm
I
freaking-
can't do it on camera. The gesture that I gave to her, she's loyal and wonderful, but I was like, yes, freedom. But that would be it. That would be, I think, coming into it, there was an agreement that I would shave my head. Wow. And that it was, going to be something that would be a big secret. Can't say how or why or anything like that. Just obviously you see that it does happen. And I was really excited for that opportunity. I was loving your hair in the corner. I was like, yes, girl. That was me for like 4.5 months. And the shampoo bill, nothing. I literally am eyeing the shampoo at my hotel right now, being like, that's a solid 4 months right there for my like routine. So much easier. So yes, that's something that, apart from like the epic proportion that is the MCU, and so excited to bring such an iconic character, to be able to tackle that as a female and be like, all right, you want me to shave my head? Let's do it. That sounds like tons of fun. And when Marvel asks you to do it, you're like, what level? A 1, a 2, Bickett, what's happening? Let's go. Wow. Yeah.
I think that for me, every single Marvel employee, executive, producer that we met was honestly a Marvel fan. That's one thing. But the fact that they were also, and I'm not blowing smoke, legitimately every single one of those people were lovely people. And that for me was the best part.
Very cool. Guys, unfortunately, I brought this thing down to the minute. I got as much time as I could with you, but I do have to let you go. Once again, tonight and tomorrow, IMAX, guys. Go see Inhumans. Get your tickets if you haven't already. 29th on ABC. Catch that premiere. We'll all tweet about the differences. We'll look forward together. I know we'll be out there.
Thanks.
One more time, join me in thanking Anson Serinda for being here.
you.
Thank you so much.